Hello, everybody. Welcome to Baby and the Boomer. This is the first ever episode 4. We did it, our first ever episode 4. Welcome, and we're so glad you're here. My name is Scott. I am the baby.
And I'm Mike Neal, and I'm the boomer.
All right, you get that? He's the baby boomer. I'm just the baby. That's kind of the whole premise of the show. Now you got it. Now you understand. All right. Well, first off, we just wanted to thank you guys for watching. Again, last week we had about 4,700 people that watched the last episode. That's awesome. That's really great to see. So thank you so much. Definitely share that with your friends if you like it. And even if you don't like it, share it with your friends. Maybe we say something you don't like and it's confrontational. Great. That's what's grabby. And that's what basically that's what we want you to do is share that video and share with your friends because maybe they'll like your bad opinions that you like. Let's see here. So for that, definitely want to shout out Lead Hounds. Did a really great job with promoting again this week, and we'll get to them a little bit later. Now, if you want to watch the show a different way, if you want to watch it on YouTube, you can definitely do that. The link is right there in our bio section of Facebook. And if you want to find us on iTunes, please go to the iTunes app or the podcast app. Just search Baby and the Boomer, and we'll be right there waiting for you to go. You can download the episodes, subscribe, and you can review us on there. That would be awesome as well.
We're everywhere. You cannot run from us.
Yeah, you can't go anywhere on social media without being too far from Baby and the Boomer.
Yeah.
We'll
find you.
Why would you want to be too far away from us?
You wouldn't.
You wouldn't. Let's go to our T-shirt winners. So if you did share the page, good for you. We have a T-shirt for you. So we have 3 winners again this week. So Mike, why don't you give us our first 2 winners again?
Yep. Our first winner, I just have 1, so I don't know if we have 3 or not, but I know we have at least 2. So our first winner of the T-shirt, and here is the Baby and the Boomer T-shirt right here. Twine Graphics, again, did a great job on that. Is Kathy Descaine of Peachtree City, Georgia, who liked and shared episode 3. So remember, you have to like and share the episode and get it out there. So Kathy, thank you. Really appreciate it. If you will Facebook message us, let us know what size you want. We'll ship that off to you probably tomorrow. First class U.S. postal mail.
There you go. And I thought we had 3, but we're only going to do 2 this week.
Right.
So the more your chances will actually. No, they're not going to be better. But maybe we'll do 3 next week. If we get enough shares, let's say how many people should share the video, and we'll give away 3 T-shirts next week.
We'll do this. 25 people like and share episode 4. Then we're going to go with 3.
There you go.
So it's up to you.
There you go. So we got 2 this week. So we got that one. And then we got my buddy Dylan Kane. He shared it, tweeted it out as well. So that's really awesome. So thank you, Dylan, for doing that. And we'll get your address, and we'll get you that T-shirt as well.
Yeah, let us know what size. We'll get it out to you tomorrow.
And if you want to buy a T-shirt, show that T-shirt again for the crowd.
Boom.
They want to see that.
Are you kidding? A bomb lit, ready to blow up inside a baby carriage.
Nothing wrong with that.
People will look at that. People will look at that. So it's a great logo. We love it. We get lots of comments on it as we wear it around town.
There you go. And if you want to buy one of those T-shirts, you can do that. Let us know. Send us a message, and we'll get you one of those T-shirts.
Yeah, $20, and we'll get it out to you.
$20. All right, so let's go into our first segment. We have Best and Worst of the Week. We just mentioned Twine Graphics. They're the one that are sponsoring this segment right here. So, Mike, tell us a little bit more about Twine Graphics.
Yeah, Twine Graphics, Franklin, Tennessee. Everything that you see here, our backdrop, our table topper, the T-shirt, the logo itself, Twine Graphics. Very professional. I use them in my own business that I run as well. I trust my business to them. You should too. How do you find them, Scotty? You
can go to their website. That says www.twinegraphics.com. That's super simple. You can also visit their Facebook page, which is facebook.com/twinegraphics.
Yep.
And that's the best way to reach them.
Yep.
All right. So best and worst of the week. Mike, what was your best thing about last week?
ESPN's top 25 games.
Yep.
Just on auto run over and over and over, watching Tennessee beat Florida over and over, watching Tennessee beat Georgia over and over. I'm telling you, this has been a good week for me. Mm-hmm. Fortunately, they did not show Vanderbilt and Tennessee over and over. I would have been suicidal. But, yeah, it was just great to watch all the great games, Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State and
Penn
USC,
State,
the
Ohio
Rose
State
Bowl.
was good, yeah.
Yeah, it was just it makes you start to feel like it's almost time.
We got out of the worst sports month, and that's July.
Yeah.
We're out of it. We're in August. Camps are starting. The rumors are going.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got preseason football tomorrow night. Tomorrow night they're playing in Canton.
Oh, it's the Hall of Fame game.
Snuck up on me.
Yeah.
That really stuck on me.
It happens every year.
Yeah, and you'll see the starters play for 3 snaps and then they're out. My best of the week, I'll go with Yankees getting Sonny Gray from the Oakland Athletics. They traded to get him.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really great deal. Sonny is a Nashvilleian. He is born in Nashville. He went to high school in Smyrna, played baseball at Vanderbilt. Really great pitcher, so I'm really happy the Yankees got Sonny Gray.
They're getting ready for their run.
Yeah, I think they're looking good. They lost 2 games in a row to the Tigers, but I think they'll put it together.
Yeah, and I'm very excited to see the Cubbies do what we thought they were going to do from the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
Big trade to get that pitcher, and ever since that has happened, I don't know whether the team kind of got a wake-up call.
Right.
They have been on a tear.
Yeah.
And they were putting the Milwaukee Brewers in their taillights if they're not watching.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, what was your worst of the week?
Worst of the week, I think probably another week without Diet Coke, my one true love. I'll wake up in the morning and lament the fact that's the first thought on my mind, but I am making it through more than 2 weeks off Diet Coke. So, but that was probably my worst of the week.
Yeah, I can understand. The crazy dreams, that sort of thing, is that still going on?
No, really, the delirium tremens have stopped. The running through the streets naked with a loaded handgun is over. Now it's just sadness and desperation.
Yeah, welcome to a world without Diet Coke.
I know. Who wants to live in that world? But I need to.
I don't know how you do it. My worst, I guess I'll go back to baseball, back to the hot stove, the trade deadline. The Dodgers just getting way better. They've lost 2 games, it seems like, in the last 30 years. They're just unbelievable. And then they go get Yu Darvish, the tallest person ever to come out of Asia besides Yao Ming. He has 6 different pitches. He is pretty unstoppable when he's really good, which is a very blanket statement. But the Dodgers got him. They have him and Kershaw. That's not fair. Bellinger hit his 30th home run tonight. The Dodgers are just way too good, and it looks like they're ready to just walk right into the World Series. But baseball is weird. Baseball, you can't predict baseball season. All my Yankee fans will get that. It's just weird stuff happens in October.
It does.
Teams just fall flat, and then nothing happens. And then, like the Red Sox were just supposed to bulldoze right in last year. That didn't happen. So
look at the Braves.
Interesting to see how this goes.
Look at the Braves. The Braves going into the All-Star break. We're on a run. Everybody was saying that knew anything about baseball. Watch them. They're going to go on a tear. You're going to start to see what this team is going to look like in 2018, and they are getting murdered.
And they didn't do anything in the deadline.
Yeah. And again, that's understandable. This is not their year. But it was. Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
If the Yankees had picked up Darvish, everybody would be freaking out going, I hate the Yankees. You don't hear that about the Dodgers. When the Yankees do things like this, everybody goes, I hate the Yankees. When another team does, it's like, oh, okay, well, they got better. It's just
And
as a
that's not fair.
I grew up a Red Sox fan, so I would tell you I feel the same way. But it is interesting that if the Yankees do something, everybody flips out.
Right. Yeah.
The Dodgers do that. Well, they really upgraded their team.
I remember when the Yankees before the 2009 World Series, the preseason before that, they got Teixeira, CC Sabathia, and AJ Burnett, and people were just freaking out. They were like, "This is unfair," and then they went and won the World Series. So then we had to go through the whole thing again of the Yankees buying their players.
Right.
It's like if that were true, and they're the most lucrative team, they would just win every year.
Right.
They don't win every year.
But
that's not how baseball works.
Right. And some small market teams have won and do win.
Yeah. And that's always exciting when you can get those small market teams to do well. My buddy Tyler wanted to know, will Kershaw perform in the playoffs for the Dodgers? Which is always – he's in the last 5 years, Kershaw's ERA is sub-2.
Right.
I heard that stat, and I think I stopped breathing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. If you're only giving up less than 2 runs per outing or per 9 innings.
That's regular season.
For 5 years.
Right, regular season.
Regular season, that's pretty amazing. But yeah, again, it's all the playoffs. If Kershaw can't perform in the playoffs, again, that's just his one crutch. And that's a big one too.
Yep.
He's like a generational pitcher.
Yep.
But he's got to be able to do it. And I think he will in the postseason.
Got to win a World Series. You just got to win a World Series and show up there.
Yeah.
All the greats do.
Yeah.
And to be considered a great,
yeah,
you have to show up. Let me take it back. Doesn't even have to win the World Series this year, but he has got to be dominant because pitching is dominant in the playoffs.
Right.
The games are 1-0. The games are 2-1 because you're getting the 3 best pitchers in every series. And so he's got to be one of those 3 best.
I think so.
Yep.
He's got to be. Do you want to go? We have more comments.
Let's keep going.
Y'all are flooding in. Hi, Lizanne. You're a good old friend from New York. Let's see. Again, Becky wants to know, glad to know Mike and the Diet Coke is your one true love. And that is his wife, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. So we know that is not the exact thing that I meant there.
She's downstairs listening to this whole thing, and
So this could be the final episode. Maybe it's just the baby now, because if something happens to the Boomer, Becky Neal killed him. Don't let anybody tell you it was an accident. She murdered me.
We talked about that insurance policy.
Yes, and it doesn't pay if she kills me. So I want justice, people.
She'll get a good
lock her up. If she kills me, lock her up.
Yeah. She may have reason.
All right.
Tyler also wanted to know, is Aaron Judge the best rookie we've seen in MLB history? I don't know. I'd have to look up stats. I'd have to go do some research on that. I mean, he's going to be a 40 home run, 110 RBI for a rookie year. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I don't know.
Okay.
I'd have to do a little bit more
in
depth on that.
Major League Baseball history now spans 3 centuries.
Yeah.
Right?
No, baseball's been around since Moses.
Major League Baseball spans the
1800s,
the late 1800s, the 2000s.
Yeah.
We're in 3 centuries now. So that's hard to do.
Yeah.
Right? Because what we talked about last week, history for most people begins the day they were born. So I will say in the last 20 years, yes,
sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely in the last 20 years.
I can't think of anybody. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how has he been able to sustain it the way he has? I think his plate discipline's really good. It really lets a lot of balls go. That was his big deal the few games he played last year, as he just didn't really do a really good job with plate discipline. But this year he's really good at that, and he'll get it going. And then I think maybe the home run derby screwed up his swing just a little tad. Mm-hmm. That's everybody's hot seat right now. He messed it up in the home run derby, but he'll come around.
Yeah.
So we'll go to our next segment. Thanks for the comments. Those are great. Keep flooding those in. Those are awesome.
So much.
We love interacting with you guys. We'll go back to college football real quick. So SEC guy, Big Ten guy, as you can tell by my throwback Michigan jersey here that got off eBay. SEC Big Ten team that will surprise everyone this season. Mike, I'll let you tackle this one first.
So I like to tackle SEC football.
Wow.
I like the analogy. So you guys weigh in. So the topic is the most surprising team. This could be good or bad, right? SEC Big Ten. Who do you think should be the most surprising team in the SEC or Big Ten? So you guys, we want to hear from you.
Yep.
And we'll share some of your thoughts with the rest of the crew. For me, I know I'm going to sound like a homer, and I am. I'm an unabashed homer, but I think it's going to be the University of Tennessee. I think Tennessee goes 9-3. I think Tennessee is going to tie for the SEC East in a 3-way tie with Florida, Georgia, and Tennessee.
They'll have the tiebreaker.
Whoever is the highest ranked team will then go to the championship game to be offered as a human sacrifice to the University of Alabama and cannibalized by the Red Elephants.
Yep.
So I think Tennessee has a quarterback that is going to be able to throw the ball. They have young talent, but they have lots of talent.
Yeah.
They have upgraded their coaching staff across the board. So why everybody is skittish on Tennessee is they had a lot of players drafted in the NFL, and there's a lot of guys who are new.
Yeah.
But not on the offensive line, not at linebacker, not at defensive back.
Yeah.
Your starting running back is back. I understand what people are saying. Oh, Tennessee 6-6, 7-5, going to be a down year. I don't buy it. Don't you buy it? They're going to be the most surprising team, and it's not going to be Auburn because everybody knows Auburn's going to be good with Jarrett Stidham. So if anybody says, "Oh, it's going to be Auburn," Kathy Biscayne, that's not going to be a surprise to anybody.
My one big drawback is you don't have Dobbs, who saved you a lot last year.
Right.
You don't have Kamara, who was a really, really, really good running back.
But he was hardly used.
He was hardly – yeah, okay. Yeah, that's true. The one thing I will say is improving the staff is you got rid of Mike DeBoard.
Yes.
And as a Michigan fan, I know how disastrous he can be to a football team.
Yep.
You did get Brady Hoke
Yep.
for the defensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Brady's a great guy. I don't know what I don't know. I think his coaching style is best suited for the MAC. But anyway, Brady Hoke could do really good things on the defensive line there.
Right.
You lose Barnett, who is the best defensive player to come out of Tennessee in I don't know how long. And the defense was ranked, I think, 95 last year.
Yeah, but the defense was constantly injured. Derek Barnett, I believe. Derek Barnett's gone. But the problem that we had with Barnett is the way they set that, because our defensive backfield was so injured, it was Derek Barnett rush hard and go after the quarterback. So consequently, teams just ran around him and gained massive amounts of yards. The Alabama game is a perfect example of that. Jalen Hurts is still running. He has not been tackled yet. He may have fallen down, but he's still not been tackled because literally Derek Barnett just went after him.
Yeah.
He looped around him and ran for a touchdown every time he touched the ball. Last year was a shambles of injuries, bad coaching, and I believe new coaching. Injuries can happen, but watch out. This team is going to be much better than they think, and 2018 is going to be the year for Tennessee.
Okay. Yeah.
If Butch Jones is not the MAC coach that everybody says he is.
Brady Hoke's the MAC coach.
Well,
but Butch Jones, I think.
Butch Jones is the MAC coach too, and so we'll see. Does Butch Jones have a ceiling that allows him to be a learner? By the way, remember when they used to call it Clemsoning, Scotty?
Yep, I do.
After 5 years, their coach is on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Dabo Swinney on the hot seat. People looking around thinking about he's never going to be able to win the big one. Everybody jokes about Clemsoning. 2 years later, he's in the national championship. So just know that to build a solid program, sometimes it's not like a 1 year turnaround, like a Gene Chizik,
Urban,
and then a flame out. So
Urban in Ohio State he inherited a very good Tressel recruited team.
Exactly, and everybody made tons of money from tattoos and selling championship rings. So you pay, you get great players, McCulsick, and so he did inherit a great team. Butch Jones inherited a dumpster fire.
Sure. I think so too.
There were 2 SEC caliber players on that 85-man roster when he took it. So that's a lot of talk about Tennessee. If you hate Tennessee, I'm sorry, but that is my surprise team. Tennessee. I don't think anybody else could be in the running. You tell me. I just would like to ask you, who else is in the SEC that's not projected to be good that you think would be at that level? Mississippi State?
I think not at that level. I don't think Kentucky is all that bad. I've heard a lot of good things about them.
I do too, and I think they're going to be better. But again, they still don't have enough athletes, and they're going to be really good to begin the year.
Yeah.
And injuries, and then the thinness of the squad will show up. But everybody expects LSU, Auburn, and Alabama to be good. Everybody expects Georgia and Florida to be good.
Yeah.
So who's going to be the surprise team? Now, what you might say is, hey, I think LSU is going to be much worse than they think because Orgeron can't coach. I personally don't believe that. Or everybody might say, I think Florida is not going to be very good because Malik Zaire is not going to be the savior.
Yeah. I have a hot take.
Okay.
We had sound effects, the sirens, and you'd hear the fire crackling. Evan Thompson.
Right.
You know Evan Thompson?
Yeah.
Okay. I think Alabama will be a surprise in the wrong direction. They will be good, but not as good. 2 or 3 losses. Can you imagine a Bama team with 3 losses in a year?
I can't imagine living in that world.
I don't know.
Is Evan a Bama fan?
His profile picture is the Falcons logo.
Okay.
Might be Georgia.
The Atlanta Falcons?
Yeah.
Oh, well, Evan, I don't think that's going to happen. But I will tell you, there are Alabama fans that are a little nervous about it. But again, remember the year, what year was it they had the all-world defense? I mean, not last year. The other year they had the all-world defense. When they had a bunch of freshmen and the defense was they all those guys got drafted in the first round, and then they came out, and it was one of the best defenses they ever had.
2012?
It may have been 2012, the year they beat LSU in the national championship game. Mm-hmm. There's so much talent over there, and such good coaching, and such a good program. I don't see that. If you're right, there are a lot of people rooting for you to be right, Evan.
Yeah, and like I said before, any Bama loss is going to be must-watch. I mean, if they're down in the fourth quarter, right. Everybody, I mean, it's just Twitter's going off and everybody's just flying over that game.
Right.
Because it's so much fun to watch. Saban get mad.
Yeah.
Saban yell at his coaches.
Right.
It's just the best.
Yeah, every Big Ten team that thinks they may get into the playoffs is rooting for Alabama to lose because no Big Ten team wants to play Alabama ever again. Except maybe Ohio State the year they did win the national championship and beat them.
He says Jalen Hurts will be their downfall. I haven't seen too much in terms of his passing, but I don't think they need to. I think they can just run the spread high school offense with Hurts and Damian Harris.
Yeah,
I think
this is where that argument falls apart, Evan, in my opinion. Is Hurts is going to be better than he was last year. He's not going to be worse than he was last year. And they were one play from winning the national championship with him last year, not being able to throw a ball. Yeah. So, again, I don't see him being worse. You might argue that his receiving core is going to be worse, or you might say Lane Kiffin, who's a quarterback whisperer, is gone. But I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be a worse quarterback. I don't think he's going to throw the ball any worse. So I don't think that's going to be the problem.
I don't think it's going to be. I think they're going to be unbelievable. I think they're just going to. Yeah. They're the 33rd in it.
Surprise team in the Big Ten.
I think maybe not a surprise. Definitely the sleeper is Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. Their schedule is very, very easy. They got Michigan at home, and they're just going to walk right into Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship game.
That seems to happen with Wisconsin a lot.
They get in it a lot. It's
well, I mean, they seem to avoid some of the teams. I don't know what the scheduling is like in the Big Ten.
Well, they don't have to play Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. They're not forced to play them every year,
right?
Like on the East because they're in the West,
right?
And I think they're returning their entire offensive line. They got Alex Hornibrook, who's a pretty good quarterback, who's going to be back again. I think they're probably going to be ranked somewhere right inside the top 10 tomorrow in the coaches poll. I think, they're just going to slide right in. I can't really see them losing more than a couple games, and they'll slide right in. And I think if they win the Big Ten championship, they have one loss. I think they get in the playoff. Oh,
no question. And again, I really like Wisconsin. I like everything about it. I like their fans. I like their uniforms. I like their students that fill up that stadium and really
Camp Randall is awesome.
Yeah, with the jump around thing that they do. So I think you could be right. What do you think about Maryland?
Maryland, I think DJ Durkin, who is Michigan's defensive coordinator,
and Florida's defensive coordinator,
interim coach for a little bit. They'll come around. They need some athletes on that team. They're starting to get some. They have a pretty good wide receiving core, but I think they just need a lot more help on the offensive side of the ball. Wisconsin's schedule, a non-conference schedule, Utah State, Florida Atlantic, and BYU. Okay. And BYU hasn't been anything worth noting for a couple years.
They are committed to playing Mormons, clearly.
And Utah State and BYU. I didn't see that. Well, Michigan did Utah and BYU in the same year, too.
Okay.
Yeah,
there you go.
They like the Big Ten likes Mormons. Lots of wives. Yep. So then Wisconsin they play Michigan at home, and they don't play Penn State. They don't play Michigan State. They don't play Ohio State. So they're going to walk right into Indianapolis. And
right.
Yeah, I think Wisconsin is my not my surprise, but I think they're the sleeper.
Yeah.
Is
there anybody in the Big Ten that you think is going to be worse than they're projecting?
I don't know if Rutgers can be worse, but Rutgers.
They can't. No, I reject that outright. You cannot be worse than the worst.
Can't be worse than Rutgers.
They're terrible.
I think Purdue's also going to struggle quite a bit.
When have they not struggled?
Well,
since Drew Brees,
and then they've had a hard time since then. Another buddy thinks Tyler again thinks Florida's not be anywhere near as good as they're projected to be.
Who said that?
My buddy Tyler. He thinks 8 wins is pretty much where they're going.
Tyler, I am so hoping you're right.
Yeah.
Oh,
they got Malik Zaire, who's that transfer from Notre Dame, and I've watched his highlight tape from Notre Dame is about 90 seconds long. Yeah. It's real quick, but pretty scary. Does some pretty good stuff, and I think maybe next year might be it for Florida to make a really big stand.
Well, I hope he is right, and I hope Florida has a less than stellar year.
Yeah. So we'll move into our next segment, and we wanted to talk a little bit about concussions. I think that's a pretty hot topic that has been going on lately. So they did a report. They looked at 120 NFL players' brains. So they donated their brain to science.
Right, after they were dead, by the way.
After they were,
relax, don't worry.
While they're still, we don't want to get out situation. And they looked at him, 120 brains. 119 of 120 had CTE. And that's pretty amazing in terms of a stat that's that many. And then Goodell came out. He was at the Jets like media day or something ridiculous like that because he's such a fraud, and said our NFL players live longer than the average person. And no, they don't. That's not true. I think, the concussions, I think what he should have said is just, we're trying our hardest to make the game as safe as possible. We have come so far forward with technology, and we're doing everything that we can in the rules and the technology to make this the safest that we can make it. And should have left it at that, but he didn't do a very good job of that.
Yeah.
So I guess the big, right now it's, people really focus on the kids in this. They want to know, well, the kids, when should we start playing? I've heard Harbaugh, who nobody loves football more than Jim Harbaugh. He knew at the age of 6 he was going to be a head coach. I mean, no one's thinking that at age 6. He knew he was going to grow up. He saw that his family height was nowhere over 6 feet. He knew he had to be 6 feet tall or more to be a quarterback. Drank as much milk as he possibly could, and he turned out to be 6'3", 2 inches taller than anybody in his family. So he does that. Just crazy football guy. He said in a camp this summer, if he had a kid, or if he would suggest that kids would play soccer until 8th grade, and then 9th grade start playing football.
Yeah. The story that Terry Bradshaw tells is really amazing to me. Some of you may have heard of Daniel Amen, who is specializes in healthy brains and brain health. Terry Bradshaw, a couple of years ago, went to go see him. And they can scan historically to see how many concussions you've had in your life. And they asked Terry Bradshaw how many concussions you think you've had. And he said 3, because he remembered that he had been knocked out 3 times while playing football. And when they did a brain scan, they found that he'd actually had about 125 concussions.
Yeah, just insane.
And because concussion is simply a moving of the brain.
Yeah.
Because it floats inside your head. So I'm really glad that we're paying attention to this, because here's the risk I think we're running. Boxing has always been a ghetto sport. It was the sport of the Jews as immigrants. When the Jews would come over, they wouldn't be hired, and it was their only way out of the ghetto. The Italians and African Americans. Yeah. And so boxing became the sport that no one would participate in unless you were had no means financially to do anything else. Football is going to become the same way, because it is going to be the way out for disadvantaged young kids.
Yep.
And it's going to be gladiators. You're going to have the people who could have gone to play football at Vanderbilt but said, no, I'm going to be a doctor. Instead, I'm not going to play football because I don't want to suffer concussions.
Yeah.
Watching disadvantaged kids play professionally for money. And I think football can be safer. In the North particularly, they don't play tackle football. They play flag football until they get 9 and 10. Mm-hmm. In the South, our kids, for those of you who don't know, our kids start football tackle at age 4. Age 4.
Wow.
My son played under 65-pound football as a 45-pounder on the offensive line, and we've got pictures of him with kids twice as big as him, and Jake's trying to block them. And the idea is, well, we need to teach them how to tackle correctly early.
Sure.
Now, I understand that. But you can teach people to tackle that are 13.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it at age 4.
Yeah.
So I think if you reduce the contact, you have kids fall in love with the game like they do in the North, playing flag football, introduce pads and tackling later once the bodies are more mature. I think that's the way to go. And technology is advancing. Very soon, you're going to have a helmet that will diagnose a concussion.
Wow.
Very soon. They're very close to having a helmet that will diagnose a concussion. So there won't be any doctor on the sideline going, how many fingers am I holding up? Who's the president of the United States?
That process is broken.
That will be
it really doesn't work.
Because players lie.
And you can't even tell a concussion maybe up to 24 hours after it happens.
Right.
You'll misdiagnose a lot of the time.
But there'll be somebody up in the booth whose sole job is to monitor the concussion monitor, and that player will be out, and his life will be better for it. But what's happening to these NFL players, again, it's choices they make.
Yeah.
Most of them say, I wouldn't do anything different.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a lot of these players wouldn't change it. And if you look at the compensation that they're getting over the haul, I feel like a lot of them are going to say it's worth it. The one disadvantage is the better you are, the longer you play, the more hits that you take, the more likely you're going to get it.
Right.
So there's your catch-22 is the better that you are, the more likely you're going to run into some issues. Now, you can be a really good offensive lineman. You're not going to play more than probably 10 years.
Right.
Before already Jake Long's already out of the league. He was a number 1 pick in 2007.
Right.
And he's done already. So the offensive line that takes a lot of hits to the head, I think that's a lot. I think like Brady, somebody who's been able to avoid a lot of that contact because he's had such a great offensive line and that sort of thing. He's crazy healthy, and obviously shows no signs of that sort of thing. But again, maybe something down the road could come up because he did play for so long.
Right. It's the linemen, it's the offensive lineman who every play is a head trauma, basically.
Yeah.
And I don't worry about the professionals so much because that's a choice you make.
Yeah.
Especially at this day and time. If you want to play professional football, you understand the choice. There's no mystery out there that you might have a diminished health in your later years. And in fact, one of the offensive linemen from the Baltimore Ravens just retired after 4 years, of course. He's getting a PhD, and he's got alternatives in his life.
Yeah.
One of my friends whose son played at Stanford was a starting running back at Stanford, and so he was smart enough to get in Stanford.
Yeah.
And he was a starter for 2 years, played all 4 years, and his son works in a warehouse now.
Yeah.
Because he's had so many concussions. For those of you that are familiar with the way Stanford runs the ball, they've got a big, burly white kid who is running really hard up the middle.
Yeah.
Toby Gerhart.
Yeah. Power offense.
And he's had so many concussions, he can't work at any job where there's any conflict, people are yelling, there's any pressure. He works in a warehouse now, and his father is just crushed. His father feels so guilty about it. And of course, it's not his fault.
Right.
But this is a real problem.
Yeah.
And it's a real problem. But at this day and time going forward, everybody has all the information they need.
Yeah.
There's everybody has the information they need to make a wise decision for their children and for themselves.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think, by now everybody knows. And if you want them to go to a different route, they'll definitely do that. It's going to be up to the parents to be able to make that decision when they're so young. But I think, what would you guys say? If you guys want to comment, let us know. If you have little ones, do you let them play? If you're waiting, if you're wanting to have kids, or that sort of, like, how far along in the process would you have the kids start playing football? Would you do it as soon as they open it up? A lot of places will, like, third grade is the first year that they'll do it. Or would you wait until they get to high school, that sort of thing? And
I know we've got some football coaches that watch the show. So please let us know.
Yeah, that'd be great. So, I think concussions, at the end of it, you have all the information that you need, and it would be something where it is going to be such a case-by-case scenario with each person. All right, well, let's go into our next segment here, and this is going to be brought to you by Lead Hounds Marketing. We mentioned them earlier. They do all of your social marketing for you there. They'll really help you boost your posts. They'll help organize that. They've done such a great job with us, like we've said before. What more about Lead Hounds Marketing that people need to know?
They will make you money and get you leads, and they will do it very inexpensively because social media is the least expensive way and most powerful way to advertise in 2017, and it's not going to change. And you need experts to guide you through it because it's a complex process where you need help. And Lead Hounds Marketing is the best.
There you go.
And you can find them on Facebook.
Yeah, find it. Yeah, that's the best place to find them is on Facebook. You can look up our page; they'll be right there, and it should be just type marketing. You'll be able to get to them.
Yeah.
So that was brought to you by Lead Hounds for the top 5 here. So we do a top 5 every week. Thought of a good one, I think, here, and you guys can certainly let us know. It is the top 5 sporting events you wish you could have seen in person.
Yeah.
So I think this is pretty cool. So let us know if there's an event maybe you've gone to, or maybe you would definitely want to have seen again, or if you wanted to go see it in the first place. I did this pre my existence, post my existence. So Mike, go with your number 5.
Number 5 is the 1958 NFL Championship Colts versus Giants. Johnny Unitas for the Colts, Y.A. Tittle for the Giants, and Sam Huff. Just Frank Gifford, the running back for the New York Giants, called the greatest NFL professional football game ever played. It ushered in the modern era of the NFL. It was the most watched football game in history at that time. And because it was such an epic overtime game, people fell in love with the game of professional football, which up until that point had been so far below college football, it was not even close. But this began the move for the NFL to take over college football, and to see the difference in the level of play. I would have loved to have been there. I watched the game on television when they replayed it.
Isn't that one of the games they colorized? I think I saw that. They have
colorized
black and white, and they colorized. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and but just an incredible game, and it was a game that changed the course of history for football in the United States.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. Yeah, definitely, even to see what football could have been like in 1958. My number 5, my list is pretty quirky, but I'll go. My number 5 is going to be the Daytona 500 that Dale Jr. won, and that was in 2004. So one weird thing about me, I don't really follow NASCAR at all very much, but I will watch the Daytona 500 pretty much every year. I don't know why. It's just the first race, and I grew up watching it basically every year. And that was the first race that I ever sat down and remember watching. Was the 2004 Daytona 500. Dale Jr. passes Tony Stewart with 18 laps to go. And it was, 3 years after his dad had died at the Daytona 500. So I think that just would have been an awesome race. I really want to go to the Daytona 500 someday. So that would be the best one, I think, to go to is Dale Jr.'s win.
Yep. And that will be the most NASCAR talk we ever have on Baby and the Boomer right there.
There you go.
So, yes.
That was talking NASCAR.
Yeah, we'll debate whether that is a sport or not. No, we won't. But we're not going to talk about NASCAR ever again. But the Daytona 500 is, for most people, like the Masters is for people. It is the iconic event of that sport. And people that don't like to watch golf on television like me, I will watch the Masters because it's the Masters.
It's just beautiful.
Yeah, and it's beautiful.
What's your number 4?
The 1994 Stanley Cup Final, New York Rangers, Vancouver Canucks, Mark Messier, Game 6, guarantees a win. The Rangers had not won the Stanley Cup since 1940, so the chance of 1940 had been raining down on them for years. 54 years without a cup. The captain, I believe, one of the greatest leaders in the history of hockey, Mark Messier, calls it, guarantees a win, Game 7, and they do win it. Just epic. I remember watching it on television and just the level of intensity, and the game was played in New York. Watching them win in New York, and I'm a big Rangers fan, was just absolutely incredible. But Leach on that team, oh my gosh, all the great players. Mike Richter, one of the most underrated goalies ever in the history of the NHL, played out of his mind in that entire series and in that game. And watching Messier bring that cup to New York, his jubilation, it was just fantastic. I love that. I wish I'd have seen it live.
There you go. That's a point of the list. My number 4 is going to be last year's World Series, Cubs and Indians, Game 7. I'll go Game 7. Maybe I was debating between Game 7 and Game 5 that the Cubs won at home.
Great call.
But that is the one. I mean, it was probably 40 to 45% of the crowd in Cleveland was Cubs fans. So like when Dexter Fowler's opening home run went off, I mean, you could tell this is not a strong home game for Cleveland, which is a real disservice to that city. I still I can't believe that they gave up a lot of those seats. I don't know.
Just weird.
If TJ, if you're watching, you need to tell us why Cleveland gave up the tickets away to Cubs.
Just weird. That is a great call. You know, I argue with you about everything you say on the show. That is such a good call. I have nothing to say except props to you. I'm only jealous that I did not put that in my top 5.
There you go.
But
you can't now.
You win. I know, it's too late.
And it's only my number 4. All right, what's your number 3?
Game 6 of the American League Championship Series 2004, Yankees Red Sox, the bloody oh my gosh, the bloody sock of Curt Schilling, pitching 7 innings like a madman, possessed, on a torn tendon in his ankle that has been sutured to the bone so he could pitch, taking painkillers, being shot up during the game in between innings. Mariano Rivera, maybe the greatest closer in the history of baseball. I think he probably is, certainly one of the greatest. With a 4-3 lead in the 9th inning, Game 6, the Red Sox had come back from a 0-3 down in the series to tie it up and then go on and win the World Series over, destroying ripping the heart out of the Yankees. And I'm telling you, when the ball went through Bill Buckner's leg at first base in the 70s,
86,
80, was that 86?
Yeah.
Oh, I cried. I was
felt
crying.
so bad for them?
I do.
Yeah.
His life was wrecked.
Yeah.
His life was wrecked.
That's true.
That guy had to go into counseling and therapy. I'm just telling you, I've seen Bucky Dent hit a home run in a one-game playoff. That was just karma coming back, and that whole scene was just crazy. And then the Red Sox win and go on with the World Series. It was just incredible.
Yeah, that was.
It's why you watch sports.
Yeah,
you watch sports. And to have been there would have been amazing.
That was the height of the Yankees Red Sox. That was the year after Pedro threw Don Zimmer into the ground, grabbed him by his head, threw him in the ground.
Yep.
That was just the craziest series. And then the year after they play again, and then the Red Sox come back. 0-3. This is incredible. My number 3, going to do a homer pick here and go with Michigan, Ohio State, 1997. Charles Woodson's Heisman winning year. The Michigan was undefeated. That game, I will watch highlights from that game, and I can just tell that that's the loudest that stadium's ever been. It's to the point where it's like muffling up the sound speakers on the field.
Right.
Woodson's interception in the end zone, his kick return, or his punt return for a touchdown. That just looks like it was the most fun game ever to be at. And then they just know they're going to the Rose Bowl. Back when college football was a little bit more simpler, it's like you win Big Ten, you just go in the Rose Bowl and nothing about it. And that, I think, just would have been such an incredible thing to be at. So definitely going to be one of my bucket list items. Definitely is one of my bucket list items is go to Michigan, Ohio State games. So that would be probably the best one to go to is the one in 97.
Good call. Yep. Good call.
All right, so that's my number 3, and we'll go to the top 2. What's your number 2?
I'm a homer, and so I'm going homer on number 2 and number 1. So number 2 is going to be the 1986 Vols Sugar Bowl win against Miami. Still, my favorite Tennessee team ever was the 1985 team, where Tony Robinson was injured. Darrell Dickey comes in and plays quarterback. And Darrell Dickey, a great quarterback coach in college football to this day. Tony Thompson, the running back, because of all the injuries. Chris White, I guess he still holds a record for 14 interceptions in one season at Tennessee. Crazy. That team was just, they loved each other. Mm-hmm. And I remember everybody telling me, oh, you guys are going to get killed by Miami. You're going to get killed by Miami. You're going to get embarrassed by Miami. And we beat the snot out of Miami. We humiliated those guys. And that was a fantastic moment to be a Tennessee Vol. But the 85 team, still my favorite team, more so than the national championship team from 98. Still my favorite all-time Vols team. That'd be pretty cool. Johnny Major's first really fantastic team when he finally turned the corner at Tennessee. And then from 85 on through 92, Tennessee was a contender every year.
Where did they play the Sugar Bowl in 86?
In New Orleans.
Where is
at the Superdome.
At the Superdome was around in 86?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Superdome has been around. It'll be interesting what you pull up. I'm going to guess, don't tell me, I'm going to guess the Superdome has been around since 1982. I'm going to say 1982.
It's going to take me a second to pull up the tenants here, but I'm really good at that. I'm very, very good at Wikipedia.
He's very fast.
That's where I get all of the best information.
Because it's always right if it's on Wikipedia. Because it's got pedia in it, like encyclopedia.
There you go. Sugar Bowl has been around. I feel like they're going to forward me the new one.
Right.
Wait. All-State Sugar Bowl.
Well, the Sugar Bowl's been around since the 30s.
I'm reading previous locations, and it says Atlanta, Georgia, but that's because of Katrina.
Right,
and I was
exactly.
like, wait, it's not Atlanta.
Right.
It was in Tulane Stadium from 34 to 74, so the Superdome would have been 75.
Okay.
What'd you say?
I said 82, so I was off by 8. I knew it's a pretty old stadium.
I'm amazed by that. All right, so that was your number 2. My number 2, I'll go with Aaron Bleepin Boone and the 2003 ALCS versus the Red Sox. Hits a walk-off home run, first pitch, 11th inning. Tim Wakefield just throws in a nice, juicy knuckleball, and Booney was just thinking home run the whole time, smacks it, and the Yankees go to the World Series to eventually lose to the Marlins. But I think at that moment at Yankee Stadium, I like that one is another one. Like just watching the crowd, it is an absolute zoo. Like it is a mosh pit, 50,000 people jumping all over each other. That just looks like so much fun.
Right.
And then to cap off, maybe the most dramatic series in playoff history was that 0-3. I mean, that's like the Clemens to Manning and that brawl. And that's just such a crazy time. That was such a great series. So that I would go Aaron Bleepin Boone would be number 2.
Yeah, that's a bitter memory again. That's the typical Yankee Red Sox outcome, heartbreak. Tim Wakefield was a dominant knuckleball pitcher. By the way, little trivia. How did Tim Wakefield become a pitcher? You guys need to look that up. I'm not going to tell you the answer.
You're not going to.
I'm not going to tell you the answer. You guys need to. You can look it up here if you want to. Tim Wakefield became a knuckleball pitcher in the major leagues to save his career. And I will let.
Oh wait.
If you're interested, look up Tim Wakefield. An amazing story, and he was an incredibly dominant pitcher. For several years, almost unhittable.
I can't figure it out. This requires too much reading. And
yes, Tim Wakefield was actually a field player.
Okay.
And
okay, there we go. Yeah. All right, go.
Right, with the Pirates, correct?
Yep.
He was actually a field player with the Pirates and became so injured he really could not play in the field anymore. And he decided he would learn how to throw a knuckleball, and he went right from not pitching in the major leagues to being a major league pitcher by learning to throw the knuckleball.
In like real fast.
Yes.
He did it in like
an amazing story.
Really quick.
Tim Wakefield's amazing story.
Just like a couple years too, he did that. That's awesome.
Yep.
All right, so that was my number 2, and your number 1 game you wish you could have seen in person.
The Vols National Championship, Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, Tony Robinson and Peerless Price, Florida State. Another game where Florida State was a prohibitive favorite, even though they'd lost their starting quarterback. I can't even remember the name of the big, tall, red-headed guy who was their quarterback. I want to say his name was Sean, but I'm not quite sure. Big, tall, red-headed quarterback, Florida State, could not throw the ball. But it didn't.
Sean Bryson.
I remember that.
Wait. No.
Okay.
That was your fullback.
Okay.
Man.
Yeah, I can't remember his name, and that's a testament to the fact that's why Tennessee won. But again, a game when everybody told me that you are going to get murdered by Florida State, and we won the national championship, Tennessee's first national championship in a long time. Tennessee finally it was really more the end than the beginning.
Yeah.
We thought that was going to be the beginning of a run, but that's actually the tail end of a run for Tennessee from 85 to 98. And of course, the next year they were destroyed by Nebraska. Destroyed. In fact, Tennessee, the first time I'd ever seen a Tennessee team quit playing, they got run over by Nebraska, and they were never as good again after that.
Yep.
But what a night to be a Tennessee ball.
Yeah, that would have been pretty amazing. Yeah, a national championship's probably got to definitely get there.
Did you find the name of the quarterback for Florida State?
Marcus Outson. He doesn't even. You can't even click on his name in Wikipedia.
Yeah, that is.
If you are not on Wikipedia, you are nobody.
Yeah. So yes, Marcus Outson.
Yep.
The winner I couldn't remember his name.
That's a Florida State team with Peter Warrick and everybody.
Yeah, team was loaded.
Yeah. My number 1 again. So this is a quirky list. The 1936 Olympics in Berlin.
Great call.
That is Jesse Owens. That's his Olympics.
Hitler's Olympics.
Basically Hitler's Olympics, doing all of the track and field events, and then Jesse Owens just like the best athlete of all time, right as an African American, right in front of Hitler, who was all about not that, and just made a huge statement. That was pretty. I think that like seeing that would be like that's one of history's greatest moments. Not even in sports, it's one of history's greatest moments. They put that in the history books.
Right.
in just your regular old like social studies history class.
Yeah.
I think if I was able to see that, and then who knows what I would probably kill.
Hitler would not allow his Jewish athletes to compete.
Yep.
And then a black man takes over the Olympics,
so awesome.
And it was just everything right about sports, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
and right on the cusp of the beginning of World War II.
Yeah. Crazy stuff.
Just crazy. That is a great call.
Yeah.
Well done tonight.
I heard that one maybe a few years ago.
Yeah.
We were like sporting mates you can see in person. I saw that one and I was like, holy cow.
Well done.
That would be amazing.
Well done, young baby.
Thank you.
You did well tonight.
Thank you. Thanks, Mike. That's good.
I throw compliments around like manhole covers.
Yeah, thank you.
Don't get used to it.
My dad said when I did the 90-7 Michigan Ohio State, he goes, "Weren't you like 4 years old?" Yeah, but it's like as I were now, who would I want to go back and see?
Right. So the idea is, what would you have liked to have seen live and in person?
He might just be pointing out that I'm really young. I think that's what he's doing. He's
he
pointing
may
out
be doing that.
I'm a baby. Let's see. Katie Jett said, "Love the '85 bowl game. Tennessee beat Miami."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically yours. 90 and Evan Thompson said 98 Falcons beat the Vikings for NFC Championship.
That is a great. And here's a great story about that.
Yeah.
So I'm watching the game in the bedroom, and Minnesota kicker Anderson, who never misses a kick, misses a kick. And the Falcons are going to the Super Bowl. I threw myself around the room as like I was having demon possession. I just my first reaction was just to throw myself all over the room and roll on the floor. And that next day, I had a prepaid ticket to fly to Minneapolis, Minnesota.
For what?
From Atlanta, Georgia, because a client had brought me there, and I put on my Falcons jersey and flew in an airplane, and I walked like a 10-ton gorilla through Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport with my Falcons gear on. And people were so devastated. People would look at me, and they'd want to be angry, but they couldn't. They just looked at me like, and they just put their head down like, yes, you are my daddy. Walk by me. It was amazing. There are so few moments as a Falcons fan where you can feel that. Oh, it was incredible. I wore it all day.
Just a few moments.
Yes.
Let's see. Yeah, I think that's what we got there. And then I'll go right back to the concussion where we were talking about. Katie Jett replied, she said, "My kids played from age 7 in pads all the way through high school. We had a trainer and doctor on the high school field, provided local orthopedic clinic, and trainers made the decision to pull the kid." So it sounds like she had a lot of trust in basically who is supervising her overall kid's health. So I think, that's going to make a huge decision of what you want to do.
Right. And that's not the way it used to be.
Right. And
that's not the way it used to be.
And now they're basically, it sounds like what they have set up in this high school is that the coach basically has no say once the kid is diagnosed as has a concussion, which is much like what basically, I mean, the NFL does that. They have the independent doctors that are there that have no relationship to the team.
Same in college football.
And then, same in college football too. So that's a really good call out by Katie there. So right now, we're coming up there. So we got a couple other comments I'll read here. All the rules in concussions are taking away football. Keep changing the rules when the style of play is causing concussions.
Who said that?
Tyler.
That is a great comment, Tyler. And this is something that we're going to have to deal with. Is it's eventually going to not be football, right? Right. Because they are going. This is going to happen in the NFL. They're going to take away kickoffs. And that's going to happen. It's a done deal. It's going to happen. And
the players' union is going to take it away.
Right. The players' union is going to take it away. And in college football, the absurdity of the rule, the ejection, personal foul, that this thing is called so foolishly over and over and over again. I've seen so many times when it's very clear in the replay. That it is not a blow to the head, it is shoulder pad on shoulder pad, but the head jars back and they won't reverse it. And it is inhibiting the game from being played, and it's changing who wins and loses football games. Yeah. And so that's a great call, Tyler. I appreciate you being with us tonight. You've had a lot of great things to say, but I'm telling you, guys, this is something we're going to have to deal with. And at some point in time, people are choosing to play a sport that has inherent risks, and you're going to make the game unwatchable. Yeah. And then it'll be safe. But now nobody's going to make any money doing it because nobody's going to want to watch it. Because you might as well watch a sport that's competitive, even if it's soccer, right? And again, I'm not opposed to soccer, but I mean, it's not a football at the level of popularity in the United States, because at least we want to watch a sport where they don't alter the rules every 5 minutes because of potential injury.
You don't know what's going on. All right, well, that's going to be it for this week. Next week, you're going to be in over the pond, in the motherland.
No show next week. We'll pick back up the week after next. We will be broadcasting the week of the 12th, I believe it is. I will be in Ireland Sunday. I will be at the All-Ireland Hurling Semifinals, one of my bucket list items. So hurling is not a competition of vomiting from drinking too much. You need to go onto YouTube.
Although that is a national sport for Ireland.
It is. Yeah. It is. And many of my relatives as well. We're all Irish. Last name is Neil. Yeah. So I will tell you, you need to go on the YouTube, look up hurling. Incredible sport. A cross between lacrosse and football, and just incredible. So I'm going to be watching that on Sunday. Yep. Also visiting Dublin, Belfast, and parts in between. And then I will be on a week from this Sunday at Chelsea Football Club's beginning of their defense of the Premier League Championship as they play Burnley in the opening weekend of the Premier League. Again, one of my bucket list items to go to watch Chelsea play live, and I can't wait for that either. And then I'll be flying back on Tuesday. So no show next week, but I will be posting pictures of me at these sporting events on the Baby and the Boomer page. So don't miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun. You'll get to see a lot of crazy antics with an Irish American hanging out with Irish people at the hurling championship. Should be kind of crazy.
That'll be awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Again, find us on YouTube. You can find that on the Facebook channel. You can find us on iTunes, on the podcast app. Type in Baby and the Boomer. We'll be right there with this logo, and you'll be able to find us right there. And we thank you for watching.
Like and share episode 4.
Get a T-shirt.
Or bad things will happen to you. Karma is real.
All right. See you guys.